The focus of this dinner tonight is on legacy, particularly legacy as it applies to Timor-Leste. But of course, the foundation and the college has been more heavily involved in northern Timor-Leste. The main functions of the foundation have been research and education, global outreach programs like this particular one, and more on Indigenous health problems in Australia and in New Zealand, of course. But tonight, with our special guest, we do want to concentrate a little on Timor-Leste and try to work out really what is the legacy we have left so far. Because Raimas Horta will have a different perspective and a more accurate perspective than my own. And there are quite a few people in this room tonight who have been there, and I have not. So that's confession number one. But I have been heavily involved in the programs and organising the finances of the programs that do go to Timor-Leste. As far as I can read from the material that Jessica has sent me, in the year 2000, the United Nations recognised there was a huge problem there, and people, including John Kearney, who's sitting on my right-hand side at this dinner, went in the very early days of the ophthalmology program. The college got involved in 2001, and the first phase of the activities in Timor-Leste have been in the years 2001 to 2004. I had the honour of being president of the college 2001 to 2003. So I began to see what was starting to go on at that time, and I first met our guest speaker in 2001, with the privilege of doing so then. But in the early days, I think there were 20 doctors in the whole country. A country which had been about 700,000 by the year 1975, but with the terrible troubles after that, it reduced to 500 and something thousand. I mean, the number of people who died in that terrible time in Timor-Leste, maybe up to a third of the population, either from displacement and starvation or actually being killed. It was extraordinary. Up to a third of people heavily involved, and virtually all the people of that country affected to some degree or other. But in 2001 to 2004, there were only 20 people there. The college sent up a scoping study to see what was going to be required if we were going to be helpful in the future. And some expatriate surgeons began to do some activity in the country. The next phase then is the years 2005 to 2010, when the college did its best to start to help train people, local people, Timorese people, and to start sending them across elsewhere for specialty training, or beginning to do so. And more expatriates from other parts of the world came to assist this fledgling country. One of my current roles is on the board of East Metropolitan Health Service. We have about 700,000 people in our catchment. We have 7,000 employees. We have hundreds of doctors. And we have a budget of $1.4 billion, plus another probably 600,000 for the GPs working in the area. A good $2 billion for that, almost the same size, if you like, of population as Timor-Leste was trying to battle with in the early days. So it was a huge challenge to develop the infrastructure, the health infrastructure, and to work with the local people about what should be done. We all go into these activities with the best of intentions, but of course, unless you really understand the local people's problems and work incredibly diplomatically and sensitively and politically with political astuteness and all the rest, best intentions can come to naught if you're not extremely careful about how you go about it. And I hope, and I'm sure that the surgeons from this college who have gone there have been very aware of that, and I'd be interested to hear what our guest speaker says about his perception of it. The next phase, the final phase, 2011 onwards, is when the Ministry for Health of Timor-Leste asked the College Australia to be involved in what they call the ATLAS program. I think if I get this right, Australia or Timor-Leste Assistance for Secondary Services program. Essentially what it is trying to do is develop programs for advanced medical training, and there are three groups. One, a very basic foundation group. The second one, the postgraduate diplomas, and thirdly, the Master of Medicine programs. As I understand it, about 188 Timorese doctors have gone through one or other of these programs, and we are now getting people out the other end who are trained to do a large amount of the secondary services or the specialty services for that country. Some of those people, John Kearney was just mentioning just now, have a diploma, but they're doing cataract surgery tremendously well. Not with full fellowships as we understand it, but doing the work that's required for that particular country. So I think, from my perspective, the Foundation and the College have made a big contribution to this small country. I hope that's the perception that our guest speaker has also. But I think it brings us back to this whole issue of legacy. All of us do our very best in our professional lives to treat the patients in front of us day by day, and to teach others to do as well or even better than ourselves. But as they get the age that I now am, we do like to also think of other things of legacy. And I would suggest that those of you who wish to consider it, that the Foundation for Surgery through Bequests is a wonderful organisation to think about. I don't want you to walk in front of a bus tomorrow, you won't have had time to do the paperwork. But I do want you to consider carefully this tremendous work I think the Foundation and other organisations like it has done. You can see, we have all seen what a wonderful contribution Rowan Nix made in his life. He was an outstanding individual, but he didn't have all of the other paraphernalia of families and so on that most of us have. But his contribution, ongoing contribution to surgery throughout the world is enormous. It'll continue through the Rowan Nix Foundation scholarships, and we will never get to that degree, but nevertheless we should consider where we go from here. I do step down from the role of Foundation for Surgery Chair for the last 9 years. That's the maximum. I was saying to Jessica, there's a plank out there that we have to walk at the end of this dinner. I cannot stay any longer, but it has been a real honour and a privilege to be involved. And it is an honour also to be able to pass the baton to the current president of the college before he is defrocked in 4 days' time, John Batten. He has been a very steady hand leading this college, and I'm sure he will do likewise for the Foundation for Surgery. So thank you for your attention.